Hello, good morning and welcome. Schönes guten Morgen, herzlich willkommen, liebe Zuschauer, to Winterberg in Germany for the second day of action here in our first European stop on the BMW IBSF World Cup Tour. And today, Saturday morning, it is dry, at least, if not bright. We start with our women's bobsleigh. Well, the Winterberg track is well known by most of the drivers. The European circuit comes here very frequently. It's a track that's used for teaching young drivers because it's not particularly dangerous. However, it is very tricky because of its subtleties. Off the long flat start, there's a little dink corner 0 that was put in when they built the new start building. And here, and corner 1 and 2, you can lose so much time. Listen to the sound as the sled picks up speed. You can hear the wind whistling over it. But out of the big Omega corner 3, still going very slowly. A little dink over the brow from corner 4. That skid there can cost you a huge amount of time. Down through 5 and 6, accelerating hard now into the Kreisel. 270-degree corkscrew. There's the track. You go underneath it on the way out. Through corner 8, big corner 9. You'll see the sled waving there in a 2-pressure corner. And then off corner 10 into the labyrinth. Now the corners come at you here very quickly. A mistake off 10 into 11 will make you late all the way through. And listen, you can hear the wind noise drop. The speed drops away in the finish corner as you start to come up the hill towards the finish line. And you can lose a race as well as win it there in the final corner. So it's a short track. There is no room to make up for mistakes made before corner 5, and it's there quite often that races are won and lost. Kaylee Humphries, sliding now for the USA, the double Olympic and world champion, is our World Cup points leader. She won both races in North America. Second in the points, Kim Kalicki from Germany, not here. She's healthy, but in the post-Christmas selection trials, she did not get one of the 3 spots on tour, and so her place has been taken by Laura Nolte. She'll make her World Cup debut here this weekend on her home track, and it is expected by a lot of the locals that she'll be in the points and on the podium. You saw there Kaylee Humphries making her return to World Cup racing. Misha McNeil there. There's a lot of sleds in the field this weekend that you didn't see in North America for money reasons. Lubov Chernik and the Russian team, they were there. But again, you'll see sleds from most of the smaller European nations. The Belgians are here, Australia here, Romania here. Yes, Australia not a European nation, but they're running a very tight ship on their own budget. So we have a sled or a field of 15 sleds, and to kick us off will be Russia's Elena Osipenko. Misha McNeil, brand new Italian driver, Giada Andruetti. She joins the field as well. And down towards the tail, you'll see Mariama Yamanka, our World Olympic champion, and Elena Nolte. So Lara Nolte rather, so you're going to see a lot of action throughout this field. Winterberg, Germany, race 3 of the BMW IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Cup. I'm Martin Haven. Welcome to the action as we get our first heat underway with 26-year-old Elena Osipenko of Russia, the Europa Cup champion last year. Her World Cup debut with Anna Parfenova alongside her. The great woman has now made 4 World Cup starts. This is her 5th World Cup race. 5:82 getaway. The start record is a 5:43. Alana Myers-Taylor and Kerry Jones a couple of years back. 2015 in the World Championships. Nice quiet lines here, really important. Keep the speed up as you start to drop down into the Kreisel. First wave of pressure, second wave there. You've got to control that to get a nice clean X. Nice looking run from Osipenko. Having grown up on the Europa Cup Tour, she'll know this track well. So it's a good place for her to make her debut rather than being thrown in at the deep end of Lake Placid. A little late coming into the labyrinth. You see that mistake compound itself on the way down. 128.8 kilometers an hour. The men's sleds were doing 131 at the bottom. 58.35 slide. 138, by the way, that's 80 miles an hour flat at the bottom. So 58.35. That was a good looking slide from Alana Osipenko. 56.54 is the track record, again set in the Worlds here in 2015. Watch the driver, leaps in, has to get her legs down around the steering gear. Brakewoman drops in behind her. Nice technique from Anna Parfenova. A 25-year-old with a 26-year-old rookie driver. Climbing nicely in the middle of the corner there. Good exit. Off turn 11, just a little late, and then hits the wall, climbing up onto turn 12, a fraction harder than she would have liked. But for a first race with cameras and lights, this is very different from the training circuits. Next up, Misha McNeil of Great Britain, the 26-year-old from Consett, Youth Olympic Games silver medalist back in 2012, and arriving last night, Montel Douglas, the fastest 100-metre runner from Catford in London. This is Misha's 35th World Cup, 7th in the race here last year. 581. And in the frame, it was 582 for the Russian crew that preceded them. A start here is very important. It's the first time that Montel Douglas has pushed a bobsled since the World Championships last year. Literally the first time. She was not doing training, so that's a good getaway. Blow the cobwebs off. Nice looking run so far again from Misha McNeil, tied with the Russian sled. Clean exit from the Kreisel. Now she's in the green by a couple of hundreds. 6.5 kilometres an hour. Just under 60 miles an hour. Building speed fast now, down through the labyrinth. Little late flop. 400s ahead of Osipenko, 80.7 miles an hour. More speed in the bank and across the line, 800s ahead. 58.27. We saw Sean Olsen there, who's helping out with coordinating and coaching the 3 British teams. You see all 3 in action today. Misha McNeil in the women's race, and Lamin Dean and Brad Hall and their crews in the 4-man race. Now nearly 21 years since Sean Olsen and his crew claimed Olympic bronze in Nagano 1998. The man with whom he tied Bruno Mijon also here coaching. Good luck, you saw a little violent take on there onto the corner. And Misha, that's not a bad looking run. Gets her set up nicely. Again, first World Cup race. She didn't this season, she didn't go to North America. She stayed here in Europe, racing in the Europa Cup races and just getting some ice time. So, Misha McNeil and Montel Douglas with the lead. 2 of our 15 sleds down. Quick getaway now for Giada Andreuti, making their World Cup debuts. Giada and her brakewoman, Silvia Taine. And their Ferrari sled. 5.98 getaway. It's going to leave them with a lot of work to do further down the track. The tap there is going to take speed away also out of corner 4. She only started sliding at the beginning of last winter, so she spent last year learning the European circuits in the Europa Cup. This year, straight into World Cup racing. It's been a few years since we've seen an Italian driver in the women's field. Very good again to see another nation being represented in women's bobsleigh. This is not a bad looking run. The mistakes early on costing her. She hasn't got as much speed, 78.8 compared to 80.7 miles an hour. Hits the wall right by the finish eye as well. Manny Mahata there helping with the coaching. He knows a thing or two about speed on this track. So Giada Andreuti, 24 years old, from Udine, close to the Austria-Slovakia border of Italy in the far northeast. And Silvia Taine lives close to Lake Garda in the region around Brescia. Silvia has completed just 3 bobsleigh races all this season, so she is as new as they come. Not a bad looking run from Giada Andreuti. Congratulations to the Italians on their World Cup debut. Next up from Switzerland, Martina Fonteneve. Martina in her 18th World Cup start, the 33-year-old architect from Zurich. And Nadia Pasternak, 23-year-old, Born in Hamburg, lives in Grenoble, France, slides for Switzerland. Nadia has started, before today, 5 bobsleigh races, 4 of them in Lake Placid, including the first 2 this season. 5.75, that's a decent getaway, fastest we've seen so far. Martina, her chosen sport, doesn't really play to her strengths. She claims that the thing she likes least in life is cold weather. 800s up. Climbing, that camera angle is not misleading. You climb up over the brow from turn 4. You start to drop about 3 stories in turn 5 and 6 down to the Kreisel. 2 pressures. In the sled, you can feel the centrifugal force pushing you down, and it pushes the sled up the wall. Starting to build her advantage. 1400s up, out to 1800s up now. This is a good-looking run. Martina Fonteneve, 2-6 positions this year in the races in Lake Placid. She'd like to keep that streak going. 58.09. Leaves her 1800s clear at the line. A few more sleds in the field this weekend than there were in the 2 races in Lake Placid before Christmas. That's a decent looking run. Martina Fonteneve and Nadia Pasternak are leaders after the first 4 sleds down. Just gets a little nudge there into a skid, trying to control the sled and avoid the wall. A nice middle line here, doesn't allow the sled to climb too high on the exit. Just a little flop as she gets down into the labyrinth. You can see the brakewoman, Nadia, there being bounced around at the back. There's Martina. 5th sled on the ice in this women's race in Winterberg, Germany. 26-year-old soldier from Innsbruck, Katy Beil. Junior world champions, her and Jennifer Onosanya. Onosanya from the Netherlands. 5.71 start, that's quicker again than we just saw from Martina Fonteneve. So, Katy Beil in 12th place in both races in Lake Placid. This track she knows a lot better. In the green by a 1/10 of a second. She's growing that advantage as well. Better speed from the start than Fonteneve. Better speed into the Kreisel than Fonteneve as well. So 1500s up into the Kreisel. Speed is lower coming out of the Kreisel because the G-forces grinding the sled into the ice slow it down. Friction is not your friend. A fraction quicker still, but a big skid there down in the labyrinth. She had to rescue that. We saw one crash yesterday from Michael Vogt, whose sled went over in 9, righted itself again, and across the line she has the lead by a 1/10 of a second. There's Wolfgang Stamper coaching the Austrians, former Austrian slider and still a sled builder of great renown. So Katy Beil, Jennifer Onosanya, a 57.99, 1/10 of a second in front. You can see the late exit there. She was almost up on the woodwork. That's where the Swiss rolled yesterday. And she had to just haul it off there. And that's the skid. She hauled the nose down, the tail still wagging the dog. Katy shakes her head. I'm sure Jennifer in the back seat felt that, but it is Katy Beil who leads by a 1/10 from Martina Fonteneve, with Misha McNeil in 3rd place. 5 sleds down in Winterberg, Germany. First heat of the women's bobsleigh race, round 3 of the season. And next up, Nadezhda Sergeva, the 32-year-old soldier from Sochi, former heptathlete, European Championship silver medalist in 2017 here in Winterberg. Oh, and little slip as she tries to get in. Her left hand just slipped off the cowl. 5.70 is a good start for her with Elena Mamedova. 3 World Cup starts for the brakewoman Elena. This is her 4th World Cup race. Sergeva finished in 5th place here in last year's race. 8th and 7th in Lake Placid. not helping. Mistakes early on in the run as well, dropping behind Bile. It's a tenth between Bile, the leader, and Martina Fontenev in second place. At the moment, just coming back. Sergeva, though, a little ragged coming as Labyrinth. Not enough speed on board. She's not going to take the lead, is she? No, 200s behind. It got close, though. She had good speed at the bottom, not quite the same as Misha McNeil, but a little more than Cathy Bile, and held her to just 0.2 of a second, 58.01 to 57.99 of Cathy Bile. There you can see Najezda, lands with the cowl in the armpits. That's not going to be comfortable. Has to get herself settled, trying to get her legs down around the steering gear, which is, it's ropes with handles, and there are bungee straps vertically in the middle of the sled. You can't get your feet caught in that, or it twists the steering and jerks the sled into the wall. And again, late here, see the head of the driver getting rattled around. Watch the brake woman, bounced up and down in the seat. I say seat. It's the bit of bare bobsleigh that you sit in. So there's Najezda. And next up for Romania, Andrea Grecu. Silver in the Junior Worlds last year. Junior World Champion the year before, 25-year-old from Bucharest. Former brakewoman. She started driving 2 or 3 years ago. Also braking. Really starting to come on strong as a driver in 5.63. She looks tall and slender, but she and her brakewoman, Iana George, who makes her World Cup debut, are starting very quickly. 5.63 is the fastest start in the field so far. You can see her sitting offset around the peak in the cowl. Look around it rather than over it, trying to keep herself down. She's quite a tall athlete. Anything that sticks up in the airflow over the sled is to be avoided if possible. 200s in the lead over Cathy Bile. Tidy run from Andrea Grecu. Transition 11 into 12 at the top of the Labyrinth. Tied for the lead of the race. So the start advantage has gone away, and at the lead of 100th of a second at the line, 57.98 to 57.99. There's Paul Diagu, who lives here in Winterberg. The former driver who has been behind this Romanian team for so many years. Maria Constantine not competing this season. Andrea Grecu was a brakewoman all the way through to the Olympic Games and last year's Worlds as well. Look at Andrea. She's got that hunched forward, head forward, right up by the edge of the cowl. And a good run from Andrea Grecu of Romania. So Andrea Grecu leads by 100th from Cathy Bile, with Najezda Sergeva 300ths off the lead as we start to get into the big guns now, and that few come more impressive in their CVs than this woman, Kaylee Humphries, twice an Olympic champion, twice a world champion for Canada. This is her 3rd World Cup start for the USA. She married an American during the summer. Last year she was away from the ice. It was a year of change. Married, moved country, with Lauren Gibbs behind her, 5.64. That's a good getaway as well. Kelly hasn't had a medal here in 4 years. She hasn't had a win here in 7 seasons, but she does know how to drive this track. In training, she was shaping up between her regular BTC sled and this BMW sled. She used both of them in North America, won in both, still trying to figure out which is the best. A 1/10 of a second up. And it's here that Kaylee needs to challenge the Germans. It's a short track, any mistake is punished decisively. 97.4, fastest speed we've seen exiting the Kreisel. It's a neat, tidy Labyrinth, and she's got it as well. Gets in neatly, just one little flop, 2700s up, speed at the bottom, just under 81 miles an hour. 57.61. Okay, so Kaylee Humphries throws down the gauntlet. It is the BMW sled she's using today. So clearly, she's answered a few of the questions she had coming into the training runs. 6 runs in training. She alternated between the BMW and the BTC sled. Just a tiny early take on there, but look at Lauren Gibbs in the back. It's a much more comfortable ride when the driver gets the timing right on and off the corners. Spend a lot more time connected to the sled rather than bounced up and down. And there's all the glamour of bobsled, humping your own sleds around.
Sorry, it bobbled a little bit and tried to pull it back in, but it's okay. Okay. Hey, start, sorry, waiter.
So Kaylee Humphries in her 121st World Cup start leads the field. 100 starts behind her, Christine de Bruyn with Kristen Bujnowski behind her. De Bruyn with 3rd place in the 2nd race in Lake Placid, lies 4th in the World Cup standings, 5:69 getaway. Leaves her 500s behind Kaylee at the start. Now can she keep it nice and quiet in the first few corners? Need an ideal entry into the corner because any steering to try and rescue it is going to cost you time. Late flop. 1700s back from 500s behind at the start. Oh, and very late again off corner 9. That was really close. 80.1 miles an hour down at the bottom, decent speed, but she loses ground, 3800s back. She's tied with Catty Bile for 3rd. Lyndon Rush there on the left, fairly impassive. Not sure Christine de Bruyn is going to be overjoyed with that. Kristen Bujnowski in the back seat will have felt her world almost turning upside down there. You'll see that replay again. Let's take a look at the start. Oh, a little slip off the block. So that was a really hard hit for Bujnowski in the back. She really had to do all the work. Pulls it down early off 9, and their centrifugal force is not done. Pushes the sled right back up, and that's where Michael Vogt did his Swiss roll yesterday. The sled did come back up, but I'm sure his guys were feeling pretty sore afterwards. Next up for Germany, Stephanie Schneider, the winner on this track in the last 2 World Cup races. Stephanie Schneider had 3 bronze World Cup medals here as a brakewoman. But she has got 2 golds under her belt as a driver. Can she go for 3 in a row? This is a great opportunity for one of the strongest starters in the field. 5:53, a 10th of a second quicker than Kaylee Humphries at the start. So that immediately gives her a big advantage. The speed at the load, 38.4, fastest through the first speed trap. So all that velocity carried into the sled, down through these early corners, 2300s up on the American sled of Kaylee Humphries, our current leader. This is Stephanie Schneider trying to swat aside not only Kaylee Humphries, but also her 2 teammates. Local girl, Laura Nolter, world champion, Mariami Amanga. Nice high line at the exit there, and look at the way she dealt with the labyrinth. Only a flop off the final corner into the seal curve. Climbs to the line, 1600s in front, 57.45. She lost time below the Kreisel. Going into the Kreisel, a quarter of a second up. 1600s in front at the line with Kira Lipperheider, the 19-year-old, behind her. Kira lives about 90 minutes away from the track. And Schneider, one of her generation's strongest brake women in the German program, and she learned how to drive superbly as well. Just a fraction late there, holding it on the corner. Looking the crossover there, Kira, her brake woman, just getting bounced around a little more than she would like. Stephanie Schneider leads for Germany with our first 10 sleds down. Race 3 of the BMW IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Cup. 5 sleds to go in the first heat here in Winterberg, Germany. Martin Haven watching the action as Lubov Czernik and Julia Schock-Schwaber, her brakewoman, get set for the start. Czernik made her World Cup debut at the beginning of last season in Sigulda. And she finished in 4th place. That remains her best World Cup result. This is her 10th World Cup start. 9th and 10th in Lake Placid. Brand new helmet this weekend, and MotoGP fans will recognise the number 46 and its relevance immediately. I said, are you a big fan of Valentino Rossi? She said, who? It's just a nice looking helmet. Well, there you go. 5:78, 8th fastest getaway for Lubov Czernik and Julia Schock-Schwaber. Schwaber spent much of her career pushing Nadezhda Sergeva. She brought in Lubov Czernik at the beginning of last season. Czernik in 8th place at the start, still 8th place on the splits. So hovering around the same territory as Great Britain's Misha McNeil, just ahead of her teammate Elena Osipenko. Big skid there and almost rolls it. Wow, that was very close indeed for Lubov Czernik. It just goes to show on a track that they take the young drivers to learn, there is still danger at every point on the track. She almost got clean out of the labyrinth and then almost parked it on its head. And there's her new Valentino Rossi helmet. I'm not sure the doctor brought an awful lot of great good fortune in that run. Lubov Czernik and Julia Schock-Schwaber survived that one. Look here, so late, the sled fully crossed up. She's got no control, it just goes right up to the woodwork. And here the labyrinth is just bad, worse, worst. And almost parked it. Got away with that though, and Lubov Czernik in 10th place, but Elena Osipenko is ahead of her. Now then, our Olympic champion, our world champion Mariama Jumanka, the 29-year-old from Berlin, with Annika Dracek making her first World Cup start of the season. Annie came in for a headshot this week. She was not quite fit enough before Christmas to compete in North America. 32nd World Cup start for Mariama Jumanka. She hadn't won a first-class race until her Olympic gold medal. Now there's no stopping her. She wins now 1 in every 3 races. Start with 5:52 push. That's the speed of her young brakewoman. Dracek still just 24 years old. 400s up. Slender lead over the double winner here, Stephanie Schneider. We didn't see a German clean sweep of the podium in yesterday's 4-man race. They were 1, 2, 3 in heat 1. The German speed 1, 2, 3 gets pushed away in the labyrinth. Having to wrestle it back, and that's cost her the lead. Schneider was cleaner, and at the line, not as much speed with Schneider either. 800s back, top 3 covered by 1600s. 4th place is half a second away. So it is the 3 Germans versus Kaylee Humphries at the moment. 57.53 for Mariama Jumanka. 5:52 getaway. And there, where she gets pushed away, suddenly she can't get onto the corners. And the corners are now dictating where the sled goes. Gets a late flop, gets pushed away again. It wasn't as close to disaster as Lubov Czernik's run. It wasn't great. Work to do for Mariama Jumanka there. And some of it may be to try and hold off this young woman, making her World Cup debut, 21-year-old student from Dortmund, Laura Nolter. Local girl here, with Deborah Levy behind her from Wiesbaden, making only her 2nd World Cup start, so a very young crew, and Nolter struggles to get her feet in. 5:53, just 100 slower than Yamanka. The same start as our race leader, Stephanie Schneider, so a very quick getaway. Lara Nolter 100 behind Schneider. She is right in there swinging. A lot of hopes on this young woman. She's risen very quickly through the ranks, runner-up in the Europa Cup women's bobsleigh campaign of last season. This is a good-looking run. She is still tied with Stephanie Schneider. Could this be a dead heat at the line? A fraction behind. Little rattle out of the penultimate corner. And across the line, she's going to be 2 or 3 500s behind. 57.50. That's second. Yamanka 800s back in third. Katie Humphries not out of the medals in fourth. 1600s back. Great debut for Lara Nolter. Perfect place for her to start, a track where she started her racing career with BSC Winterberg, the local bobsleigh club. Lara Nolter, you'll see her fans around the track all wearing pink. Even her bobsleigh van is bright pink. Little skid there, but not too much to concern herself about. Just gets a little low here, allows the pressure to push her back up, and that means a late exit. And you see that here. Here she's late off. Can you get that little flop and that little crossover? And anything that's rattling the sled side to side is energy that should be helping it go forwards. So Lara Nolter makes her World Cup debut. She and Deborah Levy are second. Next up is Anne van Nieuwenhuis, her 42nd World Cup in women's bobsleigh, her 37th as a driver, with Sarah Ertz, the double Olympian. She competed in London in heptathlon, in Pyeongchang in bobsleigh. 5:75 for Anne and Sarah. Anne van Nieuwenhuis will join me to call the 4-man race again this afternoon. 200 back off a 9th fastest start. The area around Winterberg, colloquially known as the Dutch Alps. Lots and lots of holiday makers from the Netherlands here, but lots and lots from Belgium as well. Neat looking run so far. Can she undo some of that start deficit? Briefly got up to 8th place on the splits. Often here, if you have a clean run, you pick up a place or two against those that make mistakes. The late flop at the end of the labyrinth. Still in 9th position. And at the line, 10th place behind Martina Fonteneva by 100th of a second. Tom Delahunty on the right-hand side. Coach the Dutch and the Belgians. 58.10 for Anne van Nieuwenhuis. Former 100-meter hurdler and triple jumper. The sled they're driving here is the original prototype BTC sled. When Alfie Willemsen first got it, it came with a leatherette cover on it. It became known as Spanky for reasons that we don't need to investigate. Probably a little late in the labyrinth. She's pretty clean getting in. And it was just late enough to compound the misery in there. Now, we talked about ducking your head at the line. She does that traditionally for an extra 100th of a second here or there. She said, no, I don't do it here because you're never quite sure about the final corner. Looks like she was sure. Final sled in our first heat is Australia's Brianna Walker, the 27-year-old from Melbourne, making her second World Cup start, and debutante Stephanie Preisker, the 32-year-old in only her 3rd ever bobsleigh race. Did 2 Europa Cup races before Christmas with Brianna Walker. Brie just finished her physical education teaching degree. 8 years of study, comprised with coaching, sliding as well. 6th fastest start. His only other World Cup appearance in Innsbruck last year. To 10th position. So losing a little bit of speed. adjustments all the way down. Trying to get a head around the speed on the track. 11th place, heading towards the line. Will she be ahead of Misha McNeil? No, slips just a couple of fractions behind as well. There's Elfie Willemsen, 13th place out of the 15 sleds, ahead of Lubov of Russia, who nearly crashed it by 100th of a second, and 200ths behind Elena Osipenko, a World Cup rookie. So decent run from Bree Walker and Stephanie Preisker behind her. And that completes the first heat of the women's sleds. Let's take a look here. Get just a little high and late. It's these little errors that just add up. Fraction here and a fraction there. Climbs the wall out of the final corner, letting it go for speed.
Hey, everyone at home, stay strong. Keep fighting.
Everybody's thoughts with those in New South Wales, Victoria, who are struggling with the enormous forest fires in Australia at the moment. Well, our first heat leader is Stephanie Schneider with Kai Lipperheider behind her. She has a 500ths of a second advantage over teammate Lara Nolter. Mariama Yamanka just 300ths further back. Germany 1, 2, 3. Schneider going for a win, number 3 in a row with a third different brakewoman. Won 2 years ago with Lisa Marie Bukvitz, won last year with Ann-Kristen Strack. Can she and Kai Lipperheider make it 3 in a row? There is the battle for the medals. The top 4 1600s cover them. Andrea Grecu having to fight off a tie behind a Katy Bile and Christine de Bruin with Nadezhda Sergeva just a couple of hundreds behind. So big battle there for 5th place. Then almost a tie between Fonteneva and Van Nieuwenhuis, and very close behind with Osipenko, Walker and Chernik. Well, that's it for our first of 2 heats. The second comes up at 11:40 Central European time, 10:40 Greenwich Mean Time, live from Winterberg in Germany. Join us then for all the action as we find out which of our top 4 is going to end up on the top step of the podium. Till then, 11:40, 10:40 Greenwich Mean Time from me, Martin Haven, the IBSF TV crew here in Winterberg. It's goodbye for now.